just took a big old sip.
Big old sip of whiskey there.
Cheers, everybody.
Good evening. I've been pre-gaming a little bit.
We had a nice tasting of I'm not going to say bourbon because that would make you upset.
Well, I didn't realize you have family in Kentucky.
I have family in Kentucky. My mom was born.
My mother was born in Louisville.
Wow.
So the two of us, you're not insulting me. You're insulting neither of us can say that bourbon that is made in Michigan is actually bourbon.
I'm insulting.
I'm a big fan of Michigan. Don't get me wrong.
Hey, listen.
But we're talking about bourbon.
It tastes the same. If you're asking me, there's
what you just poured in my cup.
Okay, well, you can't compare that to Woodford. No hate, no shame on Woodford, right? It was very good though. Very good.
Yeah. Well, this is not bad for whiskey.
For whiskey, we'll give it to you.
Right.
I won't insult my family bloodline. Welcome to the Ramblestream.
Welcome to number 80.
Number 80.
Yeah, we're in fine form.
Cruising along.
We got a good show for you. We're going to be talking about protecting your egg. You're protecting your head on a bike.
Your dome.
Yeah.
Your thinker.
Your thinker. And do you need to have? Should you wear a helmet?
I don't know, man.
We're surrounded by states that do not require motorcycle helmets.
It's
a controversial topic here in Indiana.
I like to feel the wind through what little hair I have.
Well, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about some builds of the week. We got some poetry coming your way. We have some news and updates, and the usual ramble stream. And we're going to end up with a nice ramble talking about helmets and maybe a little bit of history of helmets. I will not bore you too much. I promise.
I'm here for the history, Richard. I'm here for it.
It sounds like people on this ramble stream aren't. Usually when I start talking about history, the viewership drops.
Well, don't look at the number. Don't look at the number. If you want the history of the helmet, let us know in the chat. We'll try to call you out. I am going to pull up some chat here. Chris338, howdy.
I don't recognize that name.
I don't recognize it either. It's because he is a soon-to-be Janus owner of Halcyon 450, 412. So good to see you, Chris. Welcome to the crew.
Welcome to the Ramble Stream.
We are chilling today. Richard, what do we have to do? How do we intro ourselves?
Oh, yes, of course. You can just follow the lead of all the other old experienced hands on the Ramble Stream. As you can see that they're introducing, they've got their handle or in many cases, their actual name, we think.
Maybe.
Up on their YouTube. At least they fooled me so far.
Got me too.
And then they're going to tell us where you're viewing from, what kind of vehicle you ramble with, whether it's a motorcycle or not. If you don't have a motorcycle, you're more than welcome on the Ramble Stream. Tell us what you ramble with. If it's a walking stick, a one-legged vehicle.
What? A unicycle? That's the only.
Well, if you have a walking stick, it doesn't have any wheels at all.
That's fair.
You feel free to, if you're just a hiker, if you're a paraglider. We're getting really far out.
If anybody is a paraglider, does anybody ramble on a parachute? Because I'm here for it.
Or if you have a motorcycle, it doesn't have to be a Janus. Tell us make and model. Gear is also kind of important. And if you do have a Janus motorcycle, which most of you or many of you do, tell us the model and serial number. And last but not least, tell us what you are sipping on this evening. So I'll go ahead and get started. My name is Richard Worsham, founder and designer here at Janus Motorcycles. I ride. I'm broadcasting, first of all. I'm viewing. I'm not watching it. From TT, or the fabrication shop, about a mile south of the Janus headquarters in Goshen, Indiana, northeastern Indiana. So we're looking out the door, which is because we do this at the same time every week. What is it? Almost 2 years?
Almost 2 years. For you. Yeah.
For me, at least. You get to really experience the change in the seasons. And so normally it's dark when it starts and when it ends, at least in the winter. And now it's full on broad daylight. I see green leaves out the garage door. It's a little different.
That's real nice.
It's really nice. Especially when the daylight savings kind of gives you a little kick in the pants.
Yeah. I love me some daylight savings.
Goshen, Indiana. It's springtime. And I ramble with a KLR, which is a Kawasaki KLR 650. It's an 09 Gen 2. And on 18, I think. I think every week I
Every
say
week
like
you're
17
like,
or
maybe.
18. 250, Halcyon 250, cream with gold pinstripe. And I'm sipping right now. What is it called?
Man, I'm glad you asked. This is a Detroit City Distillery. It's their Toasted Barrel. Straight bourbon whiskey. But Richard doesn't
From
think
Detroit.
it's bourbon.
And I may transition back at some point to some Woodford Reserve.
A classic. A classic. A staple at TT.
Yeah, we're drinking some whiskey this evening.
Yes. My name is Jansen, also broadcasting from TT, from the spaceship. Happy to be here, soon to be rambling on Griffin 450, number 5. And I also ramble in a Tesla, and Richard can't tell me any differently.
I'm not denying you drive a Tesla.
You're not denying that I drive a Tesla? No.
You ramble? Oh, you're saying you ramble.
I ramble in it. I go where I please if it doesn't beep at me.
No, you just go where it drives you.
Right. Well, maybe it rambles for me.
It rambles for you. There you go. There we go.
What kind of poem we got?
We're going to go really classic for this one. This is book stays together here.
It's in pieces. It's literal pieces.
This goes all the way back to my undergrad days. One of my favorite books, Understanding Poetry by Cleanth Brooks and Robert Penn Warren. The New Criticism, if you're familiar with it. This is Alfred Lord Tennyson. This is a pretty famous poem. If you're English language, Tennyson's really famous. But it's from a larger work called The Idylls of the King. But this is a little bit out of it that's become famous. The splendor falls on castle walls and snowy summits old in story. The long light shakes across the lakes, and the wild cataract leaps in glory. Blow, bugle, blow, set the wild echoes flying. Blow, bugle, answer, echoes, dying, dying, dying. O hark, O hear, how thin and clear, and thinner, clearer, farther going. O sweet and far, from cliff and scar, the horns of Elfland faintly blowing. Below, let us hear the purple glens replying. Blow, bugle, answer, echoes, dying, dying, dying. O love, they die in yon rich sky. They faint on hill or field or river. Our echoes roll from soul to soul and grow forever and forever. Blow, bugle, blow. Set the wild echoes flying. And answer, echoes, answer, dying, dying.
That was so dramatic.
You got to be dramatic with Tennyson.
I don't think I've ever heard that poem before.
No, well, it's a.
Is it one of your
cornerstone?
favorites?
Well, I'm not saying it is one of my favorites, but it's also a cornerstone of like English literature.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't.
Blow, bugle, blow.
I wasn't I didn't appreciate the art of poems until I've talked to you, and my mind was changed.
Well, then I'm doing something right.
I am slowly enjoying hearing you read them and reading them myself. I have a hard time with phrasing. Like a lot of times it just doesn't make sense to me sometimes.
Yeah, I think that poems need to be. It's an oral tradition, and they need to be read out loud. It's really important. And also, it's really important that you get introduced to poems by someone who appreciates them and recommends them to you. Like that poem right there is like third generation recommendation. My father, when he was like too young to be smoking cigarettes or drinking sherry,
but he was
introduced to it by this old lady who was a connoisseur of good literature, and so like he fell in love with it because of that, and then introduced me to it, and I fell in love. But that's
pretty cool.
There's something to be said for if you have, especially in the modern era where we have like so many things recommended to us,
right,
or there's so many options that we have,
right.
You need to have something recommended.
Definitely.
To you. And if you have it recommended to you, it means more. Like even if there's not anything better about it,
right?
So having a book recommended to you, or given to you, or a poem recommended, is really, really cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. You should treasure it if that happens.
Well, so I've got like
I've
got like 15 poems that have been recommended to me over the last 15 weeks that I should really treasure. That's what you're telling me. And so if you guys attend every single week in the Ramblestream. So do you. Kelly, what's up? Hello, Ramblers. Halcyon 450, number 236. Coyote, a 2013 Harley-Davidson Ultra. We read his comment every single week,
as
I
it
think.
should be. And what is he drinking?
He is drinking Orange Crush today.
Nice.
And he also notes, I will always wear a helmet because he has to protect his pretty face.
We're going to get into that.
We are. Keith, what's up? Halcyon 706 in New York, sipping on Merlot. Fancy
Keith
wine.
Haywood likes his wine.
Is that, Keith, what's your favorite? What's your go-to? Olaf from Maryland, Eastern Shore. This is Charles. Does this name look familiar to you?
Oh, absolutely. Every single time.
He's got a Phoenix.
He's got a lot of Janus
He's
bikes.
got Halcyon 250 number 454 and his Harley Davidson Tri-Glide.
And he's patiently waiting on a Griffin 450.
I'm right there with you, Charles. Me too. Drinking reheated coffee from this morning.
Better than me. Sometimes drinking reheated coffee from Friday on a Monday morning.
That's crazy.
That has happened here at TT.
I get it, but isn't it just as easy to make a new pot? I'll let you guys think about that.
We grind our coffee beans here. Let's just say that.
Yeah, but it's the process. It's like waking up and making a cup of espresso. What are the comments we got here?
Rancho, we gotta just say it out loud. Semtech 57. John here in Rancho Cucamonga. Driving and listening today. Nice. Well, just don't get distracted.
Where are you driving to? Curious. We've got a new face here. His name is Richard Worsham. Richard, if you're listening still, we're glad to have you here. That's a joke. Did you get it?
We got Gary. Go ahead, read it out.
We've got Gary. All right,
read it out.
I'm going to read it. And we've got Gary Smith here. Hi from East Lansing, Michigan. Halcyon 50 number 11, Halcyon 250 number 79, Halcyon 450 number 3, Phoenix 250 number 79, Griffin 250 number 163. That's a new one, a new to him.
Yeah.
Correct. Triumph Trident, a 1980 Honda CM200, a 1990 Harley Davidson 883 Sportster, a 2017-year-old gear up.
He's only listed one euro. I thought you had two.
Uh-oh.
Maybe he sold one for
a discrepancy. For the Griffin.
For a Griffin, maybe.
Sipping on a Diet Dr. Pepper.
As always. Good to see you, Gary.
Glad to have you here. Jeff Kelly. You got that one. That one's yours.
Irondequoit, New York. Actually, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm just going to say
Sounded good to me.
New York, 14617.
The area code?
I don't know. It's 1968 Honda and a Canadian Moosehead Lager. Welcome to the Ramblestream.
It is really weird to see zip codes that don't start with a 4. Just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
Dave Bowen.
Attended a gathering of the Northwest chapter of the Jenny E night this weekend. 3 Jenny E and 200-mile loop. Had a blast. 450 number 41 hanging out with a local Doppelbock. It looks like rain. That is really cool to see, Dave.
That's cool.
Tell us who are you riding with, and tell us more about that. That's really neat. Good for you. Yeah, I mean, Dave is like one of the ultimate Janus ambassadors.
That's cool.
He gets out there.
That's
really
great.
Cool.
That's great. I've seen lots of familiar faces. We've got Keith Haywood. We've got Lo-Fi. We've got Rev Freemoto in here. Robert Basco.
Let's move on. Let's do Bills of the Week.
Let's do it.
I want to get more of these comments. I know you all they appreciate it when we feature their comments.
Yes. All right. Now, on to a fan favorite. Oh, hold on. Gary said, yep. Sold
the Euro 2015 for the Griffin 250. We were right. We were right.
We crushed it. Cool. We crushed it. This is, of course, the featured builds of the week, brought to you by Janus Motorcycles, handpicked by
the
Mitch.
Man, the myth, the legend, Mitch McLean.
With his beautiful locks, his hair blowing in the wind when he's not wearing his helmet. Mitch McLean. This is Halcyon 450, number 373, going to Ohio, and this is Courtney's motorcycle here.
All right, so we're getting some classic images here. You know, Mitch likes to feature, and we all do. We all like to watch it too.
Love it.
And this is not we're not knocking the fact that we're watching the whole thing, but he likes to start at the basics.
A
raw frame.
I love it.
An engine, front forks, verticals, the rear transom. This is your rear suspension for the Halcyon 450. That is the backbone. This is the skeleton of a 450.
Yes, I think I don't know for sure. I think the next one we're getting some color here.
Okay,
I was wrong.
No, you're not. We got this front swing arm.
It felt good.
Shock up. So we got suspension units on here. Icon suspension. You can see that little VIN tag there. Oh, there we got the rear suspension units now. Finally, you got the oil system going into it.
There
Sergeant seat. So this is a black leather. So where can we go with black leather?
I think we've got a couple options here. Okay. I'm gonna
maybe 12 different color options.
I think we've got about 12 different options. But I'm gonna go ahead and guess, and I honestly don't look at these. I'm gonna go ahead and guess. It's gonna be cream.
I was gonna say cream because that's the most popular color. What about olive? Okay, I'm gonna go with the second most popular, olive drab.
Okay. I don't think it's an olive drab.
It's gonna be like red. Watch it.
The anticipation is building.
Here it comes.
Oh
handlebars,
handlebars, come on.
exhaust system.
Oh,
which fender is it?
This means nothing
Which
to me.
fender is it? Oh, it could be anyone.
Oh,
it's olive drab.
Oh, you crushed it.
Wait, is it? Or is it
that looks
like pewter? Maybe
like pewter.
It could be like the satin olive drab.
No, I think it's pewter.
I think it's pewter with black pinstripe.
Man, false alarm. False alarm.
I thought I won.
That is a great
pewter is
looking color.
not a normal color.
No.
It's a pretty rare one actually. Yeah, that's pewter. Beautiful.
That looks
with
so good.
black pinstripe.
Double.
So this is satin pewter. That's why it's got this really nice sheen on it with ducktail fenders. Snappy.
Wow.
Look at that.
That's all the pictures we've got.
That's all we got.
Man, that is a great looking color.
Very nice. I like it.
Next up, we've got Mitchell with Halcyon 450, number 374.
This is a good picture because I don't think you really see this. Mitch doesn't usually feature these. That's the oil tank.
Yeah.
On your Halcyon 450 with the little oil filler neck coming in. That's the only place that you're going to see kind of well concealed your emissions regulations.
Don't look at it.
required to be put on the bike.
little TT tag.
There's that oil filler with the weight of oil you're supposed to use.
Engine, swing arm.
Yep.
Going through here. Seat color coming in 3, 2, 1.
He's got tie down loops.
He does.
Nice to see.
Oh.
Saddle brown.
That's my favorite. Saddle brown's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor says, we love Mitch. We sure do. He picks out some great bikes. Okay.
Okay, which one is it going to be? Is it going to be blue?
I don't know.
It's going to be blue.
I think.
That's my money's on blue.
Boom! You're right. Crushed it. That's a great looking blue.
So this blue, the official name is Charlevoix blue, which is named after one of my favorite lakes I sail on up in northern Michigan. A beautiful small lake. With what is the pinstripe color on this?
I don't know. We normally don't get a picture of.
This is the pin. This is actually you're seeing the stencil.
Yeah.
So that's your Halcyon 450 stencil. It's like black.
It looks like black again. Yeah.
Single pinstripe. Yep. JM374.
Oh, we got some
artistic
with
photographs.
Look at these
Look at these spokes. Couple. Get up close. Look at he's taking the picture. It's the pinstripe. It's the fender pinstripe.
Oh, that's what
the wheel pinstripe.
The wheel pinstripe.
But that is a very artistic shot.
That's a great looking picture.
Nice. And we got ducktail fenders too on this one.
Yeah.
Very nice. I think. Hey, Mitch, if you're watching this, you should get more artistic with these. You should get like good real. You should he's gonna be doing like.
He's gonna get all of the angles. I'm here for that. All right, that is Halcyon 450 number 374 going to Tennessee, and then our last featured build.
That's black pinstripe with silver wheel pinstripe.
That is interesting. I understand why you wouldn't want to do black pinstripe on the wheels. I understand that. I get that, and I can appreciate it.
It's cool though.
All right. Next, we've got Halcyon 450 number 375 going to Arizona. This is Mark's bike.
Mark in Arizona. All right.
Mark in Arizona.
That does not look like the same color, but
It
is. You're right. It is.
I think it is.
So this looks like OD green, satin OD. Wow, that is he's taking our recommendations. Look at that color.
Is on the fly.
Is it nighttime?
I'm really confused about this picture. I'm not going to lie. Like, look at the sky in the background.
It's beautiful. Look at this lighting.
Beaming into the windows. Okay, so it's matte. Is it the matte olive drab on the frab?
OD green.
Oh, it's the satin. Sorry.
Yep. It's matte.
Matte satin.
Very nice. So this is a frame matched bike.
Yes.
You can obviously tell. We got saddle brown leather.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go with OD green,
yeah, you kind of have to. You're locked in.
You could go with something different.
You could get crazy.
But it's a good combo.
Oxblood.
You can do oxblood.
Actually,
you
pulled
black.
in with
you can do black.
Oxblood pulled in with a maroon pinstripe. Wouldn't look bad on OD green.
Actually, that's what the Jay Leno bike was.
Oh, was it?
No, I think it maybe did. We didn't even have saddle brown at that point, but it would look really good.
That would look sharp. If you guys are building a bike, I would recommend it.
So we're assuming this is going to be OD green.
Yeah.
We got copper pinstripe. What is that color behind it?
That doesn't look like the standard red.
Oh, we're going to have to feature that one later, I guess.
I guess so.
We'll come back to that.
Hey, let's
not distract from. Okay. Oh, we got red. Copper. It's got to be copper.
We're really squirrely today.
This photography is.
Look at this color combo. I've red and silver with a copper feather. Is that what that is?
I think it is. It's sharp. I actually really like this. Oh, it is. It's red.
Wow.
But it has a copper. I have never even considered that as an option. Who's this?
This is Mark
in Arizona. Hey, Mark. I hope you get to watch this because we're
geeking out about your bike.
Yeah, that's a really, very nice combination.
That looks sharp.
Looks
Grant,
really good.
Grant is chiming in here. He says most folks get maroon on OD satin, so it's not a new.
Yeah, but they also don't do it with copper for the feather logo.
Right, and he's also saying
says bright red.
That I don't know if he's saying that airbox was bright red or if this is definitely that bright red.
Yeah, I think he's saying that this pinstripe is bright red.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's sharp.
That's
very sharp. Well done, Mark.
Headlight visor.
Very well done. Wow, that looks great.
That's a good looking motorcycle.
Okay, well,
that has been.
We don't hand out awards for people to be different.
We should.
No, really, but there's nothing wrong with the classic cream and gold. I just want to make that very clear.
Yes,
cream and gold, black and gold, OD green and vintage red. There is nothing wrong. I love those combinations. But it's definitely interesting when you think you've seen it all, and then every week you see a different bike. But this is definitely different, very different. Do we have wheel pinstripe on this bike?
I am not sure. I don't think there's. Okay. If there is, it wasn't featured.
It's neon green.
That would be even crazy. That harks back to the hot dog bike, lovingly named Halcyon 450 number 001. Mustard with green and red pinstripes. That was not a customer. That was us. That we picked that one. It's the hot dog bike, man. You go to a ballpark, you look at the Halcyon 450, and you think, I'm hungry because I want a hot dog. Thank you.
Okay, that's builds of the week. We're gonna move on.
We are going to move on to things of the week.
Things of this world. Okay. This week we're talking, as you could tell from our thumbnail, we're talking about casks, as the old word that they used to call it. A cask, a helmet.
Really?
Yeah, cask. That's if you had you're a knight and you have a metal helmet for jousting, it's a cask.
Huh. I like it.
Yeah.
So we should just start calling them casks.
It's very similar to that. Actually, I think they are called that in French.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
It makes sense.
We're going to talk about these things. Motorcycle helmets. And we kind of were just trying to do clickbait. What? if
That's
you
a
should-
question that we're going to ask and answer hopefully at the end of the stream.
Yeah.
That wasn't clickbait.
No. This is a pretty. This is like the Halcyon of motorcycle helmets. I think it's just like basic, very traditional, classic styling for something that protects your head. Looks good. Got some good colors. This actually perfectly matches my Halcyon 250 number 68. It's the same color cream. Incidentally, we sell these helmets. This is a Biltwell Gringo. That's what it's called. Whether you're a gringo or not, you can buy one. I happen to be one. So. But yeah, they come with a number of different options. And so for our thing, I'm just going to feature this specific helmet, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of helmets. We'll save the ramble for the whole debate about whether you should or shouldn't wear one. But the motorcycle helmet is... while it does share a history with the cask of old, like going all the way back to, yes, thank you for bringing this up, going all the way back to the earliest recorded history, there are records of some sort of protective headgear, primarily for warfare. So you got like, Abyssinian, Mesopotamian helmets, whether they were leather or some sort of metal. And of course, you've got like your ancient Greek helmets, which are really cool looking.
If it was socially acceptable to wear a knight's helmet every day.
Actually have a photograph. I have a picture of me wearing a knight's helmet, and I was going to put this in this album, but I decided not. It was a pretty bad picture. And then Aunt Grant was sending me text today, which I don't know if he was thinking about this Ramblestream or not, but he was like, it was like Athena wearing like the Roman helmet saying "Atgat," all the gear all the time, which is a motorcycle saying. Anyway, but you've got like basically it's basically restricted to warfare and some sort of pre firearm era warfare.
Yes.
Even though obviously in World War II was the first time, I want to say maybe somewhat leading up to World War II was the advent of really like the using a metal helmet for actual protection against firearms. But nobody was wearing a helmet riding a bicycle or a motorcycle or any kind of vehicle until I think it was probably, I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Isle of Man was the first time that people started wearing helmets. And if you're familiar with the Isle of Man, that shouldn't be surprising. Anyway, in 1914, an English doctor was at the Isle of Man and was taking care of people who had hit fences or buildings and were suffering from either being, crushing their skull or minor concussions or anything in between those two options.
Right.
And he came up with the idea of shellacking canvas helmets, like just hardened canvas, and it would provide some sort of it would glance off of things and it would provide some kind of protection. So he came up with this idea. Believe it or not, what did the riders say? No way are we going to wear that.
I don't need that.
That looks dorky.
I'm not going to look like that riding my motorcycle.
Exactly. That's exactly what they said. But he was able to have them be mandated eventually by the Isle of Man, I think within a year.
Wow.
So 1915. So the Isle of Man's been going on for a long time. They've been wearing helmets for a long time.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a very dangerous race with buildings and fences and trees, literally
people,
right out,
cows
right off the side of the path. Then that kept happening, and then you have a major celebrity death on a motorcycle. Does anybody know who the first major celebrity death on a motorcycle is?
I definitely don't.
You make a guess.
I'm not even gonna try.
Okay, Lawrence of Arabia. Have you heard of that movie?
I've heard of the movie.
So, T.E. Lawrence is famously and as represented in the great film was killed in a motorcycle crash.
Oh,
not in.
Uncle Voodoo got it.
He got it.
Okay, he got it.
I'm gonna give it. Yep, T.E. Lawrence. So T.E. Lawrence, there's a lot of legends why he died, what happened, but some people say the movie represents the version of the story where he was avoiding some kids in the road, went through a hedge and hit his head. And And the publicity from that event, because he was so famous, he made it through all these wars and all these like, crazy events, and then he gets killed on a motorcycle crash on his beautiful Rough Superior motorcycle. one of 7 that he had.
One of 7.
Anyway, that helped this one. Dr. Cairns came up with this idea that more people needed to be able to be protected because your head has like such a critical role in being alive.
I would say it has
and it was popularized, and they started wearing more helmets. So around that time, the picture on are we sharing this picture?
Yep.
So this is an image of an American version of the story. This is a board track racer. So these are the guys that are ripping around velodromes, so banked courses that are made out of wood, all around America. This is the ancestry of NASCAR and flat track racing.
Really?
Comes out of these. It's a giant circle,
and
these guys are going around, up to 100+ miles an hour on these vintage or these very simple bikes. They have no brakes.
Who needs?
They don't even probably have a throttle. They're just super. They're just wide
start
open
and go
the whole way.
That's terrifying.
If you fall off, you get a lot of splinters.
I would imagine.
But they were wearing, as you can tell in this picture, you know what, Jansen, you know what kind of helmet he's wearing?
A leather one.
And that came out of
football. I only know that because you literally told me this on Friday.
Did I? Okay, sorry. Okay. I'm giving my own story away. So it's wearing a football helmet with goggles. And this would be something that would go on for many years that they were wearing. And people would wear some version of like a padded leather helmet.
Yeah.
Up until, I want to say, 20s or 30s.
Okay.
And this is not an exact history. I'm just giving you the rough version.
Right.
Until T. Lawrence dies, and then they start popularizing it, and they start coming up with these more advanced helmets. Then you have people like Bell coming out with helmets in the 50s. Well, they started off with these pudding bowls. And the pudding bowl was like that's a pudding bowl right there. Classic. This is probably a 1930s, mid 30s. That's a Norton.
That looks so goofy.
That's a Norton. Oh, they're really cool looking, actually. It looks like a knight's helmet. Like they have their goggles underneath it. And a lot of times they'll have like a face mask. Go to the next picture.
There's something about...
Next one. Maybe one more. Oh, not that one.
Okay, that guy looks cool. I don't know.
That guy is cool. Who's that? So these guys are wearing these pudding bowl helmets, and basically it's a hard shell suspended with like leather straps. So if you hit, it like provides actual airspace.
Gotcha.
And it's like a construction helmet.
Right.
Which is interesting because a lot of these companies that make motorcycle helmets got started making construction, like Arai, the Japanese company. They actually started making construction and like protective helmets for other industries. Anyway, this is the pudding bowl. It's called the pudding bowl helmet. This is like 30 years of running, like from 1930s to 1950s or 60s even. They were wearing these helmets.
I would be interested to see
cork, leather, and like I don't know if it was like maybe fiberglass at the very end of its run.
Wow.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'd be interested to see like either concussion rates or death rates throughout this time period, because I would imagine that it may have helped from having no helmet. Absolutely. But I wonder what.
It's a big improvement.
Much, really.
It's a big improvement. Immediately they were able to tell the difference. Like it was anecdotal, but like when the doctorate on the Isle of Man started making people wear helmets, they reported like massive reductions in just concussions. And then these guys weren't going as fast as they are now.
Right.
But yeah, big difference. And then we'll get into this with helmets. Like one of the main things a helmet actually protects against is not riding at 100 miles an hour and hitting a stone wall. There's not a whole lot that's going to happen.
You're riding a motorcycle.
The helmet's going to help you there.
Right.
One of the things that a helmet does to actually protect you is just falling off of a motorcycle onto a hard surface. Picture that. Like,
ouch.
Like you can die.
Right.
Hitting your head as hard as 6 feet off the ground or 3 feet off the ground, sudden impact with a hard surface.
See you.
That's one of the things that a helmet does, and that's what happens when you fall off a motorcycle.
Right.
Even at slow speed.
Right.
Or you hit a car.
And there are curbs everywhere
curbs and stuff like that. So anyway, finally in the 1950s and 60s, Bell. Here's a great image of a Bell motorcycle helmet.
That guy looks
the
awesome.
The Bell 500. This is none other than the great Burt Monroe, setting a world speed record on his 1925 Indian Scout at Bonneville. I just thought this was when I think of a Bell helmet, there's Anthony Hopkins portraying Burt Monroe. with that great Bell 500 open face. And they didn't even, none of these helmets were full face helmets.
Okay.
So then go to the next slide. Next, we have, this is an AGV helmet. It's an Italian brand. And this was popularized by the great Giacomo Agostini, who's to this day, I think he still holds more titles in motorcycle racing than just about anybody else. He was a big proponent of motorcycle safety. He was one of the first riders to wear a full face, which means it's a helmet that isn't like that Bell, where it's kind of open face. It actually has a mouth guard, which is really important.
Right.
Think about what happens in a motorcycle crash.
Face to asphalt equals no thank you.
Yeah. And so he was one of the first guys to ride with one of those. So this is actually one of his first helmets. You can see it has gone down, obviously.
Lots of scrapes. Yeah. It
There
reminds
he
me
is.
of, they did I think AGV, they
did
the helmet that I have.
You have this helmet. It's a repop of this one.
I think it's like the XV5000's the model number.
Yep.
So cool.
Actually, I forgot that you were the one who had that. So this is a reproduction. You had a reproduction.
I have a repro.
So that's Giacomo wearing the helmet in the, I don't know, 60s or 70s.
Something to note. I don't know how closely they created this helmet, the remake from this helmet or the one before, but it's a really short helmet. And I heard, and I probably read it from AGV, is that there's a cutout because he couldn't get his head close enough to the gas tank. He wanted to set his chin on the gas tank. So he's like, I need a cutout right here so that I can get closer to.
So he was all about safety, but he made some concessions.
Right. So like when I
he
wear
also
it,
won.
my chin sticks out.
Yeah. Well, that happens to me. Like I think the new Bell bullets.
Yeah.
If you try wear one of those, that my chin's kind of hangs out.
It's interesting.
Anyway, there he is. Great pictures. I think that's the last slide.
Yes,
one more. Is there any more?
That's it.
That's it. Okay. So that's the history of the motorcycle helmet. We sell the Biltwell Gringo. This is a classic helmet. It's on the affordable end of the spectrum.
It's what, $200
to $250, I think. If you're looking at, we'll talk about some more expensive helmets a little bit. They get quite a bit more expensive than that. It is DOT and I believe the new ones. This one is not. I've had this one too long.
Oh,
I should probably get rid of it. But I think the new ones are ECE rated as well. And there are other rating systems which I am not even going to begin to get into, like Snell. But let's just say, just get a DOT at the minimum. Get a DOT rated helmet, and if you're concerned about your head,
yes,
only if you are. This is a great option. These look great on a Janus. There's a lot of other options that are more maybe high tech.
Yeah,
and we can talk about them.
Like the Icon. Oh, Icon has a helmet.
Oh, the variant?
Is that the variant, or is it the?
I like those helmets.
The flight something that the visor like comes down to like
over your whole face.
Over your whole face. Yeah. Those are cool. I have a leather aviator helmet Climax goggles, and when I ear a hard shell, I use my When I wear a hard shell, I use my helicopter HGU helmet over that.
Whoa.
My boy is stacking helmets like it's a sandwich. That's cool.
2 helmets is better than one.
That is what they say. I've heard that before. What does Mike say here? A deer ran out of a cornfield in broad daylight, took me out at 55 miles an hour, slid down the road, and never got a scratch on my helmet.
On your helmet? That's crazy.
Wow.
I've had numerous moments where I've dismounted a bike unintentionally.
There's one that I remember fondly.
What was that one? Which one was that?
When you took a test bike out, or you took a bike out for a test ride and it was kind of raining.
Oh, it just started raining.
And the only thing I remember hearing is Charlie got a phone call, and then you got back and you're like, well, don't downshift in a corner when it's wet out. And that's all I remember.
That one, the only thing that got scratched was my jacket. It like smeared the Vanson logo a little bit, and then I had like this little scratch on the helmet. So I was like, I don't even need a helmet. It's fine. Yeah. Other times, I've had the helmet really get scratched up, and that's when you notice even a slight scratch on your helmet, or abrasion. You go, "Well, that would have been my head."
Yeah.
What
would have that done to if that did that to hard plastic? What would have that? would that have done to my head?
Okay, let's do some YouTube comments,
Yeah.
and then we'll get back to the rambles.
I'm gonna scroll back here to see if I can catch anybody.
Yeah.
Robert Blasco. Hi guys, enjoying the beautiful spring weather. Riding Halcyon 450 number 256, also known
Iron
as
Goddess.
Iron Goddess. Getting ready for the 500-mile service. Sipping a B&B brandy. Nice. Forgot to mention, calling from northern New Jersey.
All right.
First time listener, or what is it? First time caller, long time listener.
Long time listener. Charlie Wright. That's a new name. Let's feature
Where's
that.
Charlie at?
Right here.
Yeah. Very beautiful poem, and I love poetry when it's combined with music into a beautiful song. Is
coming back to you next week.
is that just music,
or is that a request?
Or is that a request to play a song? Are you gonna pull out a guitar, Richard, and you're gonna do a little jig for us?
No, I'll just feature. I'll do just poetry.
Keith Hayward is coming back from his wine. I asked him what kind of wine he likes. He goes, my go-to is dry red Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon.
Although I was gonna say I've seen him do a Cabernet Sauvignon.
Some red blends. I like a good red blend. Who else is here? We've got Trevor Toller. Hey, Janus. Trevor with Fraser Coatings.
Hey, Trevor. How's it going?
Great to see y'all. Lots of bikes.
Trevor is a master powder coater who I met for the first time at the Winter Moto Camp earlier this year in the frozen tundra of north of Detroit. And it was a lot of fun. So
did they have good bourbon there?
I don't know if we drank any bourbon, but we had some good things to drink. And we got cold together and rode some motorcycles in the snow.
Oh my gosh, riding in snow sounds terrible. This is John's wife. This is from Subtech.
Okay, great.
She says we're on our way home
to Rancho Cucamonga.
Rancho Cucamonga from Disneyland in Anaheim. Don't worry, I'm texting for him. Okay. Well, that's great to hear. Glad you guys are enjoying our ramblings live in your car ride. Trevor says, we love Mitch. We sure do. We got lots of comments today.
Tons of comments.
I'm a fan of the HJC RHPA7.
That's a lot of numbers and letters.
HJC, I'm familiar with that
HJC
brand.
is a helmet brand.
Yeah,
actually, that was my first helmet was an HJC.
Really? 11 helmets, full face.
11 helmets?
It's going to be an open casket when it comes.
I'm getting pretty close to. What did he say?
He said it's going to be an open casket when it comes.
I'm getting close to 11 helmets. I got a lot of helmets, but they're not. I don't wear them anymore.
I have one helmet, and I just got it, and we were on the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, and Brent was looking. Our lovely fender bender, Brent. If you're watching, I still love you. Don't worry.
Did he drop your
He
helmet?
was looking at it. And we were eating outside. We're at a pizza place, and he is twisting it around in his hands, and it drops out of his hands. And I had just gotten it in my heart.
That's happened to me many times. Where people have knocked my helmet off of my bike or off the shelf.
And
I'm like,
oh. Yeah,
I'll just pour myself a little more wood.
I'm gonna pour myself some too.
You want some wood for reserve?
I'll take some wood for you.
You have some real bourbon.
Oh, so funny.
We've talked about. Do we have any comments? Do you have any good ones?
I have a couple comments from.
We're running out of time here. So.
Holy cow, we are. I have a couple comments.
Got to ramble for a bit.
I've got one really short one and one relatively long one, and I'm going to let you read the relatively long one.
Okay, great.
The really short one just says junk. That's it. That's the comment. And
that's a goal. That's good.
I just replied with a sad face. I don't know how to respond to that.
Respond with a like. Just be like,
hey man.
I had responded to somebody today. I was arguing with somebody on LinkedIn about electric motorcycles. And I think I can't remember my exact response, but it was basically something like, "You're free to disagree with me." Yeah,
it's fine. Hey, dude, you can have a wrong opinion.
Go for it.
That's okay. Yeah,
I don't mind if you disagree.
but you can be wrong, and that's okay.
I didn't even go that far.
This is the long one. If you want to read it, Richard, go for it.
Let me see.
It's kind of fun to
starting at the top.
This is technically one comment.
I have not even seen this before. So just so you know. Made in America, comma. but you say the engine's made in China! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point!
Very excited about that.
Well,
one.
that sucks. What is the triple dot?
An ellipsis.
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 I would not own one of these, and I'll tell you, people, whoever reads this, comma, comma, the bikes are underpowered, comma, 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 meaning, comma, comma, it doesn't have the power to get you out of a bad situation, comma, comma, comma. You can't beat horsepower, and these are woefully underpowered. He has obviously ridden one.
Yes.
The other thing I was going to say is this, comma, you should save your money and buy an old Harley. Well, I mean,
Teach their own.
All right, I buy that. If this looks like a 1970s, 80s technology, this is the style you're after. You can pick up an old, actually it is. Am I reading this right?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. This bike's way overpriced for cheap these days. Plus, they're made in America. And for what you're getting, they have 5 times more power.
Are Harleys really made in America?
Well, probably in like 1980 they were.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I mean, 1980, that's like AMF era, which let's just talk about it, the AMF era. Like quality and reliability, not that great.
But
their aesthetic design, like the tank graphics,
perfect.
Lovely.
Just some interesting comments.
And also the horsepower on a Harley, like, I mean, they really are stuck. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I don't like them. Like, they're fantastic, but it's a modern motorcycle, and the whole thing is built around like this loud thing. They're really low horsepower compared to
when they weigh
anything similar, and the weight range, like
too.
The 450 Halcyon. This is an interesting tidbit.
Yeah.
The power to weight ratio is within like less than 5% of an 883. Now, the 883 is not a powerful motorcycle.
No, but there's a lot of comparisons to Harleys.
Like it's just an interesting.
That is interesting
thing to think about.
Yeah,
so, there you go. That's an interesting comment.
So
we get a lot of comments like that.
We get a ton of comments.
It's just you have to kind of put it in context, I guess.
Yeah, it's the classic. We get a lot of comments about the Big Bike Live, what we're calling the Big Bike Live, about how in order for it to make sense to purchase a Janus, it needs to be. I've seen a lot of 650s. It needs to be 650cc at least. But previously, like back a few years ago, I was hearing it needs to be at least 450.
Or 500.
Or 500. So it's like, I don't think no matter what we do, I don't think anybody's going to be happy. I think we're always going to want more power. We're always going to want to go fast in a straight line. But I think the more that we can reiterate, hey, like this is also another way to ride.
That is very smooth.
Okay, when you're drinking, what is Woodford? 80 proof?
45.
45. When you're drinking 45 against a 55, I think it is.
Like why are you drinking it?
It's good.
Okay. I'm just saying it's really good. Okay, we got to move on.
On to the ramble. Should you wear a helmet?
Oh, no. We got news and events.
Oh, we do have news. I almost skipped over it.
Real quick.
Yes.
This is to everybody. We're going to be posting an update. I will be, or Grant will be posting an update for the Owners Forum. If you're on the Owners Forum, I think we're all aware that some people have been waiting on bikes. If you're waiting on a Griffin 450, we all know that you've been waiting for quite some time on your bike. And so we're going to be putting out an update for you all very soon. The primary thing we're going to be doing is saying a massive thank you for your patience. We have taken a long time to bring out the 450, but it's for a good reason. We want to make sure that it's absolutely something that we stand behind. Also, it's been a challenge this year working through a volatile. What do we say? Volatile geopolitical situation.
That feels right.
But we'll be putting on an update, a general update for everybody. The main thing I just wanted to say is, don't worry, we're going to be building your motorcycle. It may take us a little longer than we initially anticipated, but we are putting together the pieces to be. Our main goal is to build these bikes faster. It helps us sell more bikes when we can build them. We can make that lead time faster. So I just want to assure everyone that we're working overtime to get your bike out as fast as we can. We hear you. We'll be putting out an update. And then after we put out a kind of more general update, we're going to contact you if you have a bike on order. We'll be getting in touch with you and letting you know more about the specifics of your build. And most importantly, Janus Motorcycles is we ain't going anywhere. We got your back. We'll get you your bike. Give us a call if you have any questions, and we will be sure to fill you in. But we're running a little behind on our production right now. That's something we can definitely say without any beating around the bush.
Yeah.
So,
and I think this just kind of points to our motorcycles are built
by hand
on a stand, one at a time. Well, technically 4 at a time because there are 4 stands, right? But like in reality, like we are building these one at a time. So that mixed within some other fun variables. It's hard to predict at times.
It is hard to predict, but we're working on it. And of course, the most important thing, if you're on the forum and you have any concerns, give us a call, and we would love to actually give you some meat to chew on in terms of the specifics of your build and when you should expect it.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for your patience, though. Overall, that's the main thing I also want to say is, especially for folks that have been waiting on a Griffin, thank you for your patience. We're going to get you a sweet bike. We're going to get you a good bike.
Thanks, Richard. Appreciate it. Mike asked an interesting question. Do you actually build your motorcycle, or do you sub all the work out to the Amish down the road?
That's a good question. We probably the earliest days of Janus, we would have been what you would call an assembly shop, because it was just Devin and me, 2 guys, and we would partner with shops that had all the specialty knowledge, like welding, powder coating, laser cutting, tuning, all the different processes. At this point, we contract with folks to make some of the parts for the bike. Like some of the chassis are welded up by a small shop locally. We're sitting in at what we call TT, where we make all the 450 chassis. We do more and more of the fabrication. We make our own fenders, literally in-house. We make our own 450 chassis and many other parts. When it comes to specialty things, we'll farm those parts out. I guess it depends on what you mean by build, but all those raw components come in, they get pre-assembled at HQ and then built into a motorcycle. So it's probably more made by us than a Harley Davidson when it comes to what it depends on what you mean by built.
Yeah.
We're making a lot more of the components literally in-house than a lot of other folks.
Which is super cool to see. It's super cool to see raw tubes, chassis tubes sitting like right over here that are straight and like 10
it's a piece
feet
of steel.
long.
It's a steel stock.
Piece of steel that is then bent and cut and welded, and at the end of it all, you get a motorcycle. That's really cool.
Okay.
Should you wear a helmet, Richard?
It's up to you.
All right, that's the ramble. See you guys later.
No, let's dig into it. So I got some helmets behind me. Actually, the main one I wanted to show you is this is one of my first helmets. This goes back to my moped days.
It's got some nice stickers on it.
These are all they're either aftermarket 2-stroke suppliers. So we got Polini. They make cylinder kits. We got Malassi. We got Metra Kit. These are some good ones. I got roofied by the Bropeds. That's a moped gang. We got Hell Satans, Malassi, Delorto, which is a carburetor company, Ghost Riders out of Grand Rapids, Pook. Anyway, a bunch of stickers on there. But this is actually a vintage snowmobile helmet that I bought at a thrift store.
Nice.
So I didn't really know much about helmets at that point, and I didn't have any money to buy one. But I thought, well, I need a helmet. So I found this one for like $20. I probably let $5 at a thrift store, and it fit me. And I wore this for many years. Then I was in Italy, and I bought a Momo design helmet, which was just a fashion statement.
Okay,
they're really cool.
Is it
like Momo makes like steering wheels for like high-end race cars?
Really
cool.
That's
like,
really
or
cool.
Wheels. But then we got a bunch of different helmets. But we did talk about the history. There's so many different options that you can get, like a dual sport helmet with a visor. You can get a Schuberth, like my modular helmet that has a flip up, or like for me, the nice thing about that built well that I wear all the time is that I can throw it in a corner and it gets scratched.
Yep.
Don't care.
That's okay.
And it didn't cost that much. Like
Right.
the shoe berth cost a lot of money, and
$1 million.
try and take really good care of it.
Baby.
And if you get like a rye or a shoe berth or a showy, you're spending $500 to $800.
It is a buy once, cry once scenario.
But the other thing is like they recommend how often you're supposed to replace it. Like
I don't look at that.
4 years.
I don't want to look at that.
I haven't done it, but anyway, when I started riding, my take was you are an absolute idiot. Well, after I got it through riding without a helmet, my initial reaction was you were a complete idiot for not wearing a helmet because you crash. Why would you do this? Why would you not wear a motorcycle helmet?
Right.
And then it's only really been in recent years since while I was writing the Rambler's Companion that I started to kind of think about it in the context of, well, the same thing could be said for people that ride motorcycles. Like, why in the world?
Why would you do that?
Because a car is so much safer.
Yeah. You
have seat belts, you have airbags, you have crumple zones, you have all this stuff. Whereas on a motorcycle, you have none of that stuff. And there's a lot of people that like to ride a motorcycle for that direct experience, and they just don't wear a helmet.
Right.
Now, I think there is a dividing line. And for me, that is that Rambler's attitude of being prepared. And I think that like nobody, when you go to climb Mount Everest or you go to sail across the Atlantic Ocean or wherever you want to go to Mars, whatever you want to do, you don't do it with no preparation.
Right.
And I think that we can really draw that line and say, if you're going to be doing this thing, like you could be a 12th century knight and you can go into whatever your battle and you can say, I'm not going to wear a helmet. And
then your head gets
suffer the
cut
consequences.
Then your head gets cut off. How does that feel?
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with a motorcycle. I think that like there's a valid reason to prepare. And it's the same reason that when you go ride a motorcycle, you take or you have some tools.
Right.
Or when you go to whatever you're doing, you have there's no reason why people haven't, like we talked about EDC, everyday carry things. You're prepared for what the scenario. Doesn't mean that you're trying to like eliminate any variability or chance or any, possibility of wild things happening. It just means that you're a person who you're able to be more comfortable making crazy decisions and taking rambling choices because hey, in my back pocket, I got a pocket knife that has all the extra blades.
Right.
Or I'm wearing a special hat.
Yeah, a special
protects
little
me
dome keeper
from the fact that if I just Neil was mentioning, we were talking about this on Friday. He was talking about his wife. His wife was on the back of his Versus 650.
They just got done with the ride.
They had just gotten back from a ride, and she goes to get off the motorcycle. This is stopped, by the way. She goes, and her foot got stuck on the foot peg, and she fell off the motorcycle onto the asphalt and smacked her head onto the driveway. And Neil was just he was being really open. He's like, I don't know what would have happened.
Right. It's because that's
asphalt.
That's terrifying.
That's absolutely terrifying.
Right.
And you're talking about going down the road on a vehicle that can go, even a Halcyon 250, a 250 14 horsepower motor, you can be going 65, 70 miles an hour.
Right.
Down the road.
That's fast.
That is faster than than we were designed to go.
Yeah.
Our little skull is designed to handle, as fast as we can run. And even then you can get hurt.
I was about to say, even then, I'm sure you could fall and you could do some damage just standing still.
So I simultaneously hold two viewpoints on this. I remember I was going to the BMV and I was getting a vintage bike licensed. It's a CB 125, I think. And this guy just confronted me in the parking lot because I was putting a helmet on, and he was aggressive about why are you wearing that helmet? Those things get in the way. You can't see traffic. and you can't hear things. And I was just like,
Hey, man.
Hey, you can. And actually, I think I was kind of defensive. I was like, you should be wearing one too, you moron.
Right. You're going 70 miles an hour.
But then in recent years, I've thought about it. I'm like, if you don't want to wear a helmet, if you ban people not being able, I'm from Virginia where helmets are mandatory.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing is a completely foreign topic to me.
Right.
Then you get out here in Indiana and every state that we're surrounded by doesn't have a helmet law.
They don't require it. Yeah. It's crazy.
It is crazy. I support people's decision.
Right.
Now, it doesn't mean that when people get hurt, it reflects poorly on motorcycling. And it makes it harder for people to justify to their mom when they go to, hey mom, I want to go want to buy a motorcycle, and her mother's like, no way.
Right.
You need to wear a helmet, or they just it doesn't justify this sort of reckless view of motorcycles. But guess what? This is the last thing I want to say about it is motorcycles. There's a certain level of panache and style, and you could say if you're a Harley kind of like wind in the hair guy that it's cooler not to wear a helmet. But you can also say that there's something really cool about wearing that kind of gear. You walk into the cafe with a motorcycle helmet.
Wearing a helmet makes me feel like a fighter pilot.
Yes.
And I really like that.
No,
feeling.
And I remember when I first got a helmet, carrying it around was it's like a symbol of your motorcycling. Here, your brotherhood.
Hey, this is what I'm doing. And you see,
there's nothing wrong with that.
I went to
and there's a reason that coat of arms, heraldic coat of arms, have a helmet at the top from the Middle Ages.
It's hey, this is what I do.
Symbolizes something. And they was oh, he's a real, dork. He wears a helmet when he goes to jousts.
War. What?
No, they're really cool. It's like a human head.
Yeah.
And a motorcycle helmet is nothing but the modern version of a knight's helmet.
Yeah,
I really believe that. It's so cool.
Go to a gym here in town, and there's a guy.
Already, right?
Yeah, there's a guy who rides a Ducati. What is their adventure bike?
Multistrada.
Yeah, a Multistrada.
Are you talking about? No, you're talking about.
I think he work at the laser cutting facility.
Oh, maybe we're talking about a different guy.
I don't know. But I saw his helmet hanging on, or sitting on top of the lockers, and I passed him in the locker room. And was like, what do you ride? It's just an instant connection of hey, you have a helmet, I have a helmet, and there's this instant oh, we kind of understand. So I don't know. I think there are lots of reasons to wear a helmet. I don't personally understand the reasons to not wear a helmet. I think I'm more on the end of, if you have this thing that could potentially save your life in some scenario, why would you not?
He also drives a Tesla.
Yeah, but
you could have this thing that just drives your car for you and prevents collisions.
You can have both for sure. But there's this why wouldn't you use this thing?
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
That's kind of.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I know. I love it.
Somebody look the Giacomo Agostini.
I have no
one of the
idea
top
what you
winners.
Just said.
Jacob Agostini.
Okay, it's a name. Got it.
Giacomo Agostini, one of the most winningest motorcycle racers of all time, if not the most. It basically popularizes. Nobody's saying that he's not a daring guy who knows how to ride a motorcycle. Said, hey, I want to try the full face. And he also was one of the guys that worked with Dionese to develop motorcycle racing leathers.
That's cool.
Because he wanted something that was actually protect him in a slide.
That's cool.
It wasn't just aerodynamic.
Right.
So there's something to be said for preparing yourself to handle what happens. I hate to bring it back to Boy Scouts, but be prepared. There's something to be said for that kind of an attitude. And it's definitely, read the Rambler's Companion. Ramblers try to be prepared. So,
well, and with this comment here, this is from James Chadbourne. He said, paramedic here on the NH border.
Massachusetts, New Hampshire border, which is very close to. I went to school in Nashua, so that's right up your alley.
Real close. New Hampshire doesn't require helmets.
That's right. Live free or die.
Ask the hospitals about the month of June, when the Kona Bike Week gets into full swing. my favorite. Physics is physics.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's where we stand on helmets. Wear one if you want, and if you don't, you're not. I mean, you're riding a motorcycle, you're doing a dangerous thing, so you can choose kind of what you want to do.
Don't let efficiency govern you, but be prepared.
Yes. For
There you go.
crash. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us for another Ramble Stream. We are almost on time here. This has been Ramble Stream number 80. Are you in next week?
I will be in next week.
I will not be. We are not going to have a Ramble Stream next week.
Oh no.
I'm out of town. I'm going down to Fayetteville, so we're gonna have a lacuna in the Ramble Stream.
A little. What is it? Lacuna. A break.
Break.
Oh, got it. I've put context clues together. You know, I'm pretty smart.
We will be back in 2 weeks, I think. Unless, are you going the week after that?
Hold on. Let's just.
I'll be. Well,
May 7th. Whatever May 7th is, I'll be gone May 7th.
that will be May.
That's next week.
No, Monday is the 5th. Cinco de Mayo.
Okay. Well then, what week am I gone? I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. We'll
the
see
next
in 2 weeks.
Ramble Stream episode will be number 81, and we will maybe be back next week or the one after.
Should we say that the next Ramble Stream is going to be about your chopper? I just said it right now.
A little bit premature.
But it gives you a deadline, Richard.
Okay. We'll talk about it.
We'll see. It might be. It might not.
I have wheels.
That's all you need,
And
really.
tires. All right.
We'll see you then.
Till then.